My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. I'm showing these pictures, and I'm going to try to just do a timeline because it gets too much if I give details, and it's too long to put on in three or four books. So I'll try to do kind of a synopsis. And I'll start out by saying, this is me, Margaret Ann Windsor, kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 41 by Joseph Kennedy, who was ambassador there and friend of President Roosevelt, appointed him. And then I found out that John and Joe Kennedy were there too. He brought his sons over there, and John wrote the book. I believe the title was While England Slept, and he flew in and out. And the Kennedys even addressed the House of Commons. Now then, they took out my father, Edward VIII, the real one. And that's the double I just showed you that married Wallace Simpson. And his own brother, my father's uncle, became illegal George the 6th, helped kidnap me, born in 39, kidnapped in 41, and brought over to Moulton near NASA, where NASA began in the early 50s, the Space Center and all that. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, baby sister to Georgia, the artist. And this is George, who's illegal, so that's the whole bunch of them are illegal. Elizabeth and her brood. This is George, brother, who took out his own brother, who was the illegal monarch, never told the truth. The one, the movie, The King's Speech, was made, where he's made to look like a hero instead of a thief and a traitor. This is Roosevelt's mother. This is supposed to be the Queen Mom, which is a lie, sitting next to Roosevelt. Well, they look pretty good together. They all in that bunch do. Sarah Roosevelt, the whole bunch. In 39, the year I was born, and this is U.S. News and World Report, April the 28th of 97. Now, I had just gotten out of jail here for living in the National Forest right after that publication, so I'd have to go back and look at the timing. But I spent a month in it was federal court that did it to me. And over the last years, because I was shut down, no job, no place to stay. I mean, I was locked up really in plain sight. They use the agencies. Here's one, the forestry, which, by the way, Goodlatte was over. Was a U.S. congressman from here in Roanoke. He's actually born in Massachusetts, so I don't know. I know that he knows all about this. He was over the agriculture, and so that makes him over the law enforcement, the rangers, National Forest, and the rangers, and all that. I'm just going to show you this real quick because this is where they charged me. Now, remember, they've made me homeless to where I've walked up and down the side of the interstate, and then they can say you're nuts. And you try to tell it, and they say you're nuts. It doesn't matter what I show. But here's where Eric, I don't know if you can see that, but Eric Smith was one of the rangers that was always there. I mean, it's quite unbelievable, all of it, that people can be so cold-blooded. But before I lose you, I'm going to go back to writing. I wrote a book, medical malpractice book. I didn't know my real name and identity or any of that until 83. So I'm going back to 77. By the way, let me show you this real quick, and I hope I don't forget. This is a birth certificate from Alabama. This is the name I was given. This was the twin Carl. Preston Dempsey, Lina was the mother, and the twins were illegitimate. Uh, the date they just crossed through the date to make it coincide with the birth date they gave me. Now this is a legal document, and it says on the document you can't mark through anything or change it. This is Peggy, the name I still have to use, and I'm trying to get my name back and cleared my father's name. This is Peggy. Lina Dempsey was a cold-blooded killer. She had killed them. Now, they marked through the date. The year and the month was even different on the birth certificates. So the state of Alabama just marks through and puts January the 7th. And on this one, I don't know if they put 39 marked through. It was 38. They were born in 38, let me say that, in a different month than was given me. So now then I go back to finding out. I'd written a book. I was living at Moonraker Apartments in Marietta, and I guess I'm showing my chair here is all. That doesn't get attention, does it? But I wrote the book, and it was called MD License to Kill, and it was about mind control. Part of it was. And programming, you can put chip in a heart bypass, and you can control the chairman of the board of any corporation or the president or whoever, or vice president. And their decision making is really you. It belongs to you, and they don't even know it. Or you can program someone to go out and shoot. And I hope I don't lose you and lose myself in this. Now, this is the Fort Hood shooter. And by the way, he's a psychiatrist. And he was from next door, Blacksburg, Virginia Tech. He finished school there and went on and got his degree in psychiatry at another location. But this Virginia Tech is about 45 miles from Roanoke, from me. And April the 16th of '07 is when the mass shootings happened there. And the young fella from South Korea that's been called deranged and everything, who was acting under mind control, and he's a victim. Well, he shot himself because he was programmed to shoot himself. So you've got that related to Virginia Tech. You've got a whole bunch of others related to Tech that they don't try to connect. Because to tell about mind control, it's not a visual thing. How do you prove it? But that's not it. The agency that's using it, and by the way, I want to say here, it's the people. I'm 75 years old almost, and I walked in my shoes. It's the American people who let it happen. They didn't want to hear it unless it happened to them, and that's what FBI agent 82 told me. It's only when they see how it affects them. So back to Virginia Tech. There's a bunch of them that happened there. So I'm not going to get into that, but this involves mind control. And the guy that shot Larry Flint was under mind control. Larry Flint shot me. Listen, man, I've had a rough road to hoe or whatever. Larry Flint endorsed me and Hustler in '84. Now, I had been April of '84. Now, I had been in the campaign to replace Larry McDonald, the doctor I wrote about, in mind control, because his plane was shot down by the Soviet Union jet, because the Korean jetliner he was on veered into Soviet airspace, and it was shot down. So I became a candidate and was flown to Larry Flint's, the only person that seemed to want to help me, and to his home twice in '83, October of '83. Now then, before I was flown out there the last time, I believe I was flown out, on the 16th of October, the date of the election. And I was flown back just a day and a half later. But while I was at Marietta, I think the investigative reporter's last name was Mudd, and he was, no, wait, that's what he called me later. I think his last name was Harper, and he was from a local station in Atlanta, but it was an investigative, like a satellite office in Rome, Georgia. So he was the only one that interviewed me, but he came out with the camera and he was talking about Larry Flint and all that, and later he was real friendly at the time, and I'm so naive, I trust everybody, so which is not a good thing either. But later he made the statements, and it was like suddenly somebody got to him, is what it appears. He said, well, your name's just Mud. You've been made mud. So he's right. I found out a few months later, I'm flown up to Flint's, and the Bretts are the ones that told me that I'd been kidnapped, who my father is. So yeah, my name was made mud, all right. I was made to seem like I was a nutcase running around. Because I want to tell you, mind control has nothing to do with mental illness. And I'm just going to show this the way it is, because everybody should be concerned about this. It can happen to you. You don't have a pass on it either. Mind control has nothing to do with mental illness, and this is what they're doing with it. They are programming people, and they can do it when you're a baby, start the programming. And if you doubt what I'm saying on here, I was doing this in 77, telling all this about mind control and some of the people that it had been used on. They've used it to kill off some of the movie stars and etc. Maybe it's a mass murder like the recent ones at Sandy Hook and Tucson and Aurora, Colorado. Who, by the way, Holmes is being treated for mental illness when he's placed under mind control. He's a victim. So I can see that this tape's not going to tell that much, and I wanted to finish on some of the things they had done to me. What they're doing is making, and everybody's buying it. And there's people in Virginia, in the state Senate and House of Representatives, and even in U.S. Congress that know and have for a long, long time the truth about this, and yet they will not tell it. So what they're doing is programming, and you can look at YouTube, or you can listen to Art Bell or Coast to Coast at Night with George Norrie. If that, you will get the truth, some of it there. But mind control's done by MK Ultra and the feds that you turn over to investigate everything. And I'm not sure they're the really bad people in this, because everybody's known about this for a long, long time. They haven't doubted it. The media, they won't tell it because they're controlled by the Rockefellers and Rothschilds. And quite frankly, I'm British, and this was done to me, so they don't give a damn about me. I've been told that right to my face too many times, in words and in their actions. But I'm not going to be able today to go back and pick up. I've been worked over myself. So I'm out at Flint's, and I find out my real name in 83, on in 83. And I've tried to tell everybody about the mind control and the patterns that it was done in. That's the only way you can prove it, really, because it's invisible, but nobody wanted to hear it. And the whole thing is, other than me telling it and who I am, telling it, trying to get people to listen to me, what's been done to me and my sons, the laws broken, and what's being done to them. I mean, Holmes, he's an American citizen. The Sandy Hook young fella, look at what's been done to him. He's a victim of mind control. And look at, his name's Mud, I would think so. They've really destroyed him, the press and the American people, so willing to buy it. So the whole thing boils down to the Hinckley and the back then, and getting the press aboard, and who was it? The press secretary that was shot. Anyway, to outlaw the gun control, you should be focusing on mind control, because that's where it's all at. And by the way, I want to get